How you doing there, folks? Baters here for another Top 10. This week, we're going to be looking at some insane vehicle mods for Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, remember to follow us on Twitter for the latest updates on our newest content and when we'll be live streaming next. The link is in the description. Now, pull your panties up to your nipples, tape your eyeballs wide open, and let's get to average baiting, baby! At number 10, we have the 1989 Batmobile by Kazuki and Sorozarazaz. And Sorozarazaz. And Sorozarazaz. And a name I cannot pronounce. Now, who wouldn't want their very own Batmobile? Or better yet, be Batman? If comic books have taught us anything, it's that women love a guy who dresses in all black, only comes out at night, and talks like a rapist. He's not the convicted sex offender we deserved, but the one that we needed. I remember as a child, the Batmobile was the car every kid wanted. I remember in preschool when the teacher was asking all the kids what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I said I wanted to be the Batmobile. And she said, "You mean Batman, don't you?" And I said, "You don't fucking know me!" And I punched her right in the gut. And that's the story of how I got expelled from preschool. This mod brings that fantasy to fruition in the only way I know how, in terms of a video game. This mod adds the 1989 Tim Burton Batmobile to the game, so you'll feel like a regular crime fighter when you drive around the city of San Andreas. A city as equally filled with criminals and villains as Gotham itself. It even comes with functional miniguns on the front for any liberals that want to speak to their lawyer before you blow a creamy load of justice all over their face. Now, the textures and meshes for this vehicle may not be perfect in terms of immersion, as this vehicle almost looks too cartoony for the GTA environment, where Rockstar was able to commingle realism and fiction to make a world space that feels real right down to its very core. The Batmobile may not be completely immersive in that regard, but it is a lot of fun, and it's almost a necessity when it comes to crime fighting in this corrupt city. Just look at this lady, for example. She doesn't know it yet, but she's about to be the victim of a violent crime. We got ourselves a runner! I'm gonna get ya! Ah, I'm right behind you! I'm gonna get ya! Oh, you're fucked now!
Oh, no! What the?
I rate this mod one football player who has a really hard time wearing helmets. I think I got it this time, fellas. Go team, go! At number 9, we have the War Rig by TrollFan2000 and Esra Ra. Now, this mod adds the type of vehicle to the game that makes you pee sitting down and shit standing up. I'm not sure what that means, but it does sound like it fits this vehicle. This mod adds a gigantic truck to the game that looks terrifying and powerful. The wheels are big and gigantic and have razor-sharp blades protruding out the side. In case some fuckboy wants to street race at 3 a.m., you can sideswipe him right off the fucking planet. It has exhaust pipes that are so big they'll make all the slutty girls in the neighborhood try to add you on Facebook. It's covered in rust and you'll need to get a tetanus shot before you look directly at it. Also, it's even got 4 skulls on the front, which could be incriminating evidence in a future murder trial. But who gives a shit, right? You only live once. YOLO, bitches! This truck does look like it's right out of the Mad Max universe, which is awesome because that's one thing that Grand Theft Auto was lacking in: supercharged, post-apocalyptic style vehicles. Now, this mod does have a few bugs, like for instance some of the textures are a bit transparent, like on the 2 exposed engines in the front, and apparently the hinge thingy on the back is held up by magic, which I think adds character more than anything. All in all, though, this is a great vehicle mod. As it drives and functions great in the game, it also looks cool and adds a whole new element of badass to the greater San Andreas area. I rate this mod one bear at the zoo showing off.
Are you seeing this? I'm flexible as fuck right here. Look at this. Can the giraffe do this? Fuck no.
At number 8, we have the Motojet by El Credidor. Now imagine someone who wanted to build their very own fighter jet, but they were just too poor to afford the plane parts of the jet. The only parts they could afford were the seat, the rockets, and the weapons. Now if that person existed, they would have invented the Motojet. It's basically the world's most dangerous recliner. The way that I find out if something is insane or not is I do the would you believe me test. And if the answer is no, then clearly that thing is insane. Some of you may be wondering, what the fuck is the Believe Me test? Well, let me tell you. The Believe Me test is when you describe something that could happen, and if people actually believe you, then it's not actually insane. For instance, imagine you were the first person to ever see an alien, and just as that alien was about to get sucked back up into its spaceship, it walked over to you and kissed you right on the tip of your penis. No one would believe that story. No one at all. No one would believe a story about an extraterrestrial dick kisser from outer space. Therefore, if it did happen, it would be truly insane. The Motojet is a flying chair with rockets, so it's definitely classified as insane. This vehicle mod looks great and has excellent details that really make it a believable addition. This little chair may look harmless, but it has a full arsenal of weapons at its disposal. It has explosive machine guns just like the Hydra, and it also has homing and non-homing rockets, for those people who need just a little more convincing. This vehicle mod is a lot of fun, and it gives the NPCs in the game PTSD so bad that they can't go furniture shopping anymore without crying. I rate this mod one photo of what happened to Benedict Cumberbatch after I had to sit through the Imitation Game. At number 7, we have Kart V by Chileno. Anyone who's ever owned Mario Kart 64 will understand this vehicle mod. This mod adds a go-kart to the game that very much looks like it was inspired by Mario Kart. Now, Mario Kart, for those of you who don't know, was a race game that the whole family could enjoy. I mean, it had it all, from throwable turtles to floating bananas. It taught me that if someone was ever beating you in a race, all you had to do was throw a turtle in their face, and you'd take the lead. This lesson came in handy during track and field meets as a kid. Bittersweet though, because I was undefeated in the 100-meter dash, but now the pet store won't sell me turtles anymore. Now this go-kart does look great in the game though, as the textures and meshes all look fantastic. It handles like a go-kart would, and it's a great alternative vehicle for people who need a change. For instance, this is the perfect vehicle for that one guy who's had like 1,000 accidents, but still somehow has a license. Oh my god, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. Not again. Oh god. I gotta get out of here. Oh fuck. It'll get you from point A to point B, and it's unlikely to be used as a weapon. As a matter of fact, this may be the worst vehicle there is to go on a heist with, as it only has one seat and no trunk. I mean, robbing banks are already hard enough, aren't they? Honestly, I think even if I had the right vehicle, I'd be a terrible bank robber. I'm just way too paranoid in real life. Put it this way, if a police officer even looked at me the wrong way at the supermarket, I would have the bag boy of that supermarket in my basement that night with jumper cables on his nipples, asking him who he's been talking to. I'm only gonna ask you one more time there, Bagman. Who you been talking to? I need a name. I need a goddamn name. This vehicle mod is very unique and definitely an original addition to Grand Theft Auto. There might be other types of carts in the game, like golf carts or those weird vehicles that carry luggage at the airport, but this is the only cart that could ever twist my nostalgic nipples. I rate this mod one guy who takes riding his bike way too seriously. My helmet's like totally aerodynamic because it's shaped like a bullet and it makes me go really, really fast. At number 6, we've got the Gigahorse by El Greco, Esro Raw, and Trollfan 2000. Now this is the type of rig that I would be taped to the front of in a post-apocalyptic dystopian future filled with cannibalistic war boys who only let me live because I dip my balls in chrome paint. So shiny and chrome! I'd say that would be the first time I ever dipped my balls in paint to survive, but that would be a lie. Believe it or not, ball dipping has got me out of a lot of tight spots. This mod adds a Mad Max themed vehicle to the game, which has a ton of firepower and some really big back wheels. This is the type of rig every part-time mechanic wishes they could build, but they just end up with a shitty 1992 Hyundai with a cardboard roof and a shotgun in the trunk. This vehicle looks good and does a good job depicting the Gigahorse from the movie. However, it does drive a little weird, or at least it did for me, in the sense that it would constantly be rumbling like a broken massage bed in a cheap motel. Its handling was also pretty shit, but that probably had to do with the fact that it was a gigantic vehicle with a shit ton of horsepower. The weapons are all functional on this bad boy, so if anyone so much as looks at you the wrong way, well, they're in for a bad fucking day, that's for sure. It has 2 sets of rockets, both homing and non-homing, so you can fucking get right in there, and it also has 2 sets of machine guns. Now, it has that Gatling style machine gun that shoots in all directions but doesn't rotate, which is immersion breaking as fuck, and it also has an immersive machine gun that actually rotates so you can kill your enemies with that immersive feel we've all come to expect from the Grand Theft Auto environment. I rate this mod that look you give somebody when you accidentally break some shit in their house.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Looked expensive.
At number 5, we've got the Monowheel by Cafaros and CSQ 574. Sometimes when I'm driving cars around San Andreas, I think to myself, why the fuck does this have so many wheels? Then I get on a motorcycle, and I think, still too many fucking wheels. Finally, there's a vehicle in Grand Theft Auto that satisfies my weird fetish for vehicles with the minimal amount of wheels. Imagine a vehicle so esoteric that hipsters would press their genitals together to try to become a super hipster just to own one. A vehicle so environmentally friendly that you could call someone riding a bicycle an asshole. Think about the environment, dick! Now, if you pictured a car that consisted of one giant wheel, then wow, you are really on the right track. This mod adds the Monowheel to the game, which is a car that only has one wheel and looks weird as fuck. It's basically a super giant thin tire thingy that you sit in the middle of and maneuver around the city. Now, if you ever wanted to know what it feels like to roll down the street in a giant donut thingy, then boom, you're in luck. This is like the perfect vehicle for you. Now, the textures and meshes do look really great though, and help bring this vehicle to life in the game. However, I wouldn't necessarily call this vehicle immersive, as it fits in as good to the GTA environment as an illiterate kid at a spelling bee. Shut the fuck up, Timmy, and go home. You're not fooling anyone. As GTA is all about visible capitalist progression and growth. But then again, who wants to live the high life, right? With fast cars, fat wallets, and loose vaginas, when you can take out your life savings and invest it in a vehicle that tells everyone in your neighborhood you're a fucking weirdo. It handles a lot like a one-legged animal, very poorly, and it's almost impossible to see when you're in first person. However, it's one of a kind, and it's something you're definitely not sure to see every day. The uniqueness of its design, coupled with its great craftsmanship to bring it to life in the game, makes it an excellent mod to download. It is easily one of the craziest vehicles for Grand Theft Auto, and a great addition to this week's list. I rate this mod one kid that I've got locked in my basement. You'll get some food when your parents give me the money. I think I've been pretty clear about this. At number 4, we have Duke's War Machine by El Greco and S-Ro Ra. This is the type of vehicle that if you got in a fender bender with it in a local parking lot, you wouldn't even think about getting out and exchanging information. Rather, you would become the driver's bitch and earn his trust over years and years of demeaning sexual favors, and then one night when he least expects it, you'd sneak out in the middle of the night and run off into the darkness, never to be seen again. This vehicle mod is also from the Mad Max universe, or at least inspired by it. With its excessive armor plating, its tank track wheels, and its assortment of firepower, it would leave any war boy with a fully erect penis. Now, it's safe to say that this is not your typical GTA car mod, and that being inconspicuous in this rig would be a challenge to say the least. This car is a killing machine. It is primarily designed for running people over, as you can see with the giant man harvesting equipment in the front and back of this vehicle. Now, this car mod also has functional machine guns and rockets. Now, the rockets are both homing and non-homing, so that's pretty cool. And the machine guns can shoot behind you even though they don't rotate, which actually drives me insane, because how the fuck's that possible? But in retrospect, it doesn't actually stop me from attacking NPCs with the machine guns, because that's a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, just driving this vehicle around the world and causing havoc is loads of fun and enough to make this vehicle worth a download in and of itself. The textures and meshes all look great, and this car fits in very well to the Grand Theft Auto environment, meaning it has little to no bugs that we're aware of. I would highly recommend this car mod to anyone who's in hot pursuit of Immortal Joe's wives and thinks that there may be rough terrain ahead, like murky, slushy, muddy fucking terrain in the desert. I rate this mod one squirrel who loves licking pussy.
Hey baby, you ever been tongue fucked by a rodent?
At number 3, we have the Dragster by El Creditor. Top Fuel dragsters are the quickest accelerating racing vehicles in the world, and the fastest sanctioned category of drag racers, with the fastest competitors reaching speeds of 335 miles per hour or 539 kilometers per hour, finishing a 1,000-foot or a 305-meter run in 3.7 seconds. Which is exactly how long it takes me to blow my load when I look too hard at a pitcher of Bounce laundry detergent. Just makes my clothes so goddamn soft. I love you. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret that not a lot of people know. It was actually Wile E. Coyote from those Acme cartoons that started this style of racing. He was the first one to put a rocket around his body and try to go faster than the speed of common sense. He never did catch that fucking Roadrunner, and he did die eventually of starvation in the early 1960s. But his legacy lives on through this style of racing. Now this mod adds a very convincing top-fueled dragster to the game that both looks the part as well as functions the part. Just look at all the goddamn buttons on this steering wheel. I don't know about you guys, that looks like a lot of buttons. I would definitely be disappointed if I bought a race car now and it didn't have at least this many buttons. You know, there's even a button here that pushes your face down to your ass crack just before you hit a wall at 1 billion miles an hour so you can kiss your ass cheeks goodbye. How thoughtful is that? That's amazing. Now the textures and meshes are awesome for this mod, and it handles a lot like I would expect a car like this would handle. Now I've never driven a dragster in real life, but I would imagine it would be very fast on a straightaway, but then you'd have some trouble making turns. And wouldn't you know it, this car has trouble with turns. What? Go figure. Now this is an extreme car, both in GTA and in real life. Cars like these are just not something you see every day, unless you spend a lot of time at a racetrack or in a mechanic's waiting room. I would highly recommend this mod to anyone playing this game, as this car is just a really cool addition that doesn't take away from immersion and is a lot of fun to drive. I rate this mod 2 kids who were trying to kill the ocean. They were not successful. At number 2, we have the DeLorean by Deesaw. Whenever people think of the DeLorean, they always think about time travel, and I get that. But what I'm more interested in rather than time travel is the ability to go back in time and create alternative timelines. Like for instance, that one buddy who shot off to that super smart ape and caused Planet of the Apes. You want a banana? You want a banana, dummy? I didn't mean it, I'm so sorry! I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to cause Planet of the Apes. Or if that doesn't work out, maybe I can go back in time and fight that kid again on the playground. You know, round 2. It feels like just yesterday I was fighting an 8-year-old on the jungle gym on the school playground, when in retrospect it was more like a week ago. Being a substitute teacher's hard work. Apparently you're not supposed to bring weapons to school or hit the kids. Well, tell that to my nimchucks, who clearly have a mind of their own. Now, the DeLorean is a great addition to the game. The mod author did an excellent job bringing the DeLorean to life in Grand Theft Auto. All the details are there, from the suicide doors to the flux capacitor. The only thing missing is Biff trying to beat the weirdness out of George McFly. Now, there are 3 versions of this car that have been added to the game with this mod installed. Now, the first version is a drivable, non-modified DeLorean for all those people who just really wanted a DeLorean. There you go. There it is. Enjoy it. The second is a drivable time machine that doesn't actually go back in time no matter how many times you get it up to 88 miles per hour. It actually doesn't even get up to 88 miles per hour unless you use mods to modify its speed. So I guess the mod author knew that people would be trying to go back in time. Damn it! Damn it! Now, the third version is a hovercraft version of the time machine. Now, this version doesn't actually drive on the ground as the wheels don't rotate and can only be flown. But it looks and functions really cool, and it's a lot of fun. Roads. We don't need, where we're going, we don't need roads. We just need KY jelly and a butt plug. Yeah. Now, the only way that this mod could be any better is if there was a version that could both drive and fly. That would really tickle my bird. If I could go from driving right into the hovercraft mode, wow, right? Either way, the mod author did an awesome job on this mod, as it's a super fun addition to Grand Theft Auto 5. I rate this mod 1 lady with a pet lobster. Guess they were out of dogs at the pet store, were they? Yeah? Alright. At the number 1 spot, we've got the Tumbler by Esrora and at Captain Jack. Now, if I say Christopher Nolan and Batman in the same sentence, it's very hard for me to keep my cum inside of my body, as he managed to recreate the Batman franchise in a way that really blew a gentle breeze between my butt cheeks. And I mean that in the best possible way possible. His dark, semi-realistic adaptation of the Batman franchise didn't only resuscitate a dying comic book hero, but also gave new meaning to believable fiction. As now we didn't just have to imagine these cartoon environments where superheroes lived anymore. Now, this movie was able to reallocate fictional character profiles into a real-world setting, not just a dystopian future or an alternative reality. No, a world just like our own where heroes and villains could exist, which was refreshing, invigorating, and inviting to almost anyone who read a comic book or saw a cartoon hero on TV. If you guys were anything like me, I've always been obsessed with the idea that maybe someday I could become a superhero. I mean, I've always wanted to be a superhero. And now, thanks to Christopher Nolan, I know that the only thing stopping me is $1 billion and Morgan Freeman. If I can get my hands on those 2 things, boom! I'm super as fuck. This mod, unfortunately, may be the closest I ever get to being Batman in real life, but that's okay because it's a great addition to the game. The meshes and textures look incredible and really fit in well to the environment of GTA. Now, in order for this mod to work properly, you are going to have to download Batman Vehicles add-on pack by Smooth Ops and use it in conjunction with this livery mod. This is honestly one of the most believable adaptations on this week's list and a hell of a lot of fun to drive around San Andreas. Honestly, when you are driving this tank around, crushing entire families in their shitty Winnebagos, you'll feel like this may actually be the vehicle used in the movies. Not only does this Bat tank look great, it also drives great. It handles like you would expect a rocket-powered tank to handle. A little sluggish, but fast. Now, the interiors look a little lacking in terms of details, and the rocket in the back doesn't actually shoot fire. But this tank does have operational machine guns to make up for that. All in all, this may very well be the best Batman vehicle I've ever seen in Grand Theft Auto 5. I rate this mod 1 turtle who's been following me for days. Why are you following me? Thanks again for watching, guys and girls. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to raw dog that subscribe button and come back for more fun next time. Now, if you want to watch another video like this one, then go ahead and press down on one of those blue boxes at the top of the screen. Now, I hope to see you all again next time for another Top 10.